In September this year, the 20 greatest rugby teams in the world will all head to France to take part in the 10th instalment of the Rugby World Cup, in what will also be the bicentenary year of the invention of the sport by William Webb Ellis. It will be the third time France has hosted the World Cup, having previously hosted it in 2007 and 91. In this video, we will look at every major team's potential route to the final, where the matches are taking place, and also analyse the big clashes they face along the way to the final. The tournament will be played out across 9 separate cities, covering the length and breadth of France. The pool stages work the same way as in the 2019 tournament, with the first 2 teams in each pool progressing to the quarterfinals, which will then be contested by knockout matches. So let's have a look at the pools and the big clashes which await us. Pool A is made up of 3-time world champions New Zealand, 3-time runners-up in France, Italy, Uruguay, who are playing at their 5th World Cup, and Namibia. The tournament kicks off on September the 8th, with one of, if not the most anticipated matches in the pools, between the All Blacks and France at the Stade de France. Despite that mammoth clash though, it doesn't look like Namibia, Italy or Uruguay will cause either side any problems, and so we expect to see both the All Blacks and France going through to the quarterfinals, with the winner of that opening match topping the group. Pool B is made up of 3 times champions and current holders of the Webb Ellis Trophy, South Africa, the number 1 ranked side in the world in Ireland, Scotland, Tonga, who are playing at their 9th World Cup, and Romania, who qualified due to Spain being expelled. Unlike Pool A, this pool is incredibly competitive, and both Scotland and Tonga will be looking to cause upsets in this group and try and stop either the Springboks or the Irish from qualifying for the quarterfinals. Tonga are boosted by the fact they now have Israel Folau, Charles Piutau and Malaka Faketoa headlining the new Tonga squad, 3 of the best players in world rugby. So I'd keep an eye on Tonga for being the team to cause a big upset in that group. South Africa opened their account with a tough match against Scotland in Marseille on the 10th of September, with Ireland facing Tonga a couple of days later. But the biggest match in this group is taking place on the 23rd of September, where the current champions in the Springboks take on a lot of people's favourites in the Irish, with the winner of that game surely being the one to top the group, but I'm sure Scotland and Tonga will want to have something to say about that. Pool C is another tough group, made up of 2 times champions Australia, an ever-strengthening and competitive Welsh team, 2 times quarter-finalists Fiji, Georgia, who are competing at their 6th World Cup, and they're joined by Portugal, who won the playoffs in Dubai in 2022. Fiji have been historically hard to beat at World Cups, and with the recent influx of international talent formerly playing for other nations, such as former All Black Sete Tamanivalu in the squad, they'll put up a fight against everyone. Georgia are also an aggressive physical side who may cause problems, but across the board, you'd expect to see Australia and Wales qualify from that group, with the winner of the group surely being decided between the 2 nations when they clash against each other on the 24th of September in Lyon. Pool D is perhaps the hardest group in the whole tournament, with 2003 champions England, 2019 quarter-finalist Japan, who've recently broken into the top 10 in the rankings, Argentina, who finished a memorable 3rd place in 2007, the last time the World Cup was in France, Samoa, who welcomed back even more firepower than Fiji to their ranks and a 2-time quarter-finalist in their own right, and finally, Chile, who famously beat the USA in qualifying and are making their debut in the tournament. Bar the obligatory walkover of facing Chile in Pool D, there are no other easy matches, with the remaining 4 teams all confident that they can take one of those 2 top spots. England opened their account against Michael Cheika's Puma side in Marseille on the 9th of September, and it's a must-win for both sides. Japan famously beat South Africa at the World Cup in 2015, and last tournament made the quarterfinals, overturning Scotland in the process, so they'll be looking to continue to improve and fight for a qualifying spot once more. Samoa have the best record of any Pacific Island team at World Cups, and will be looking to ensure that they can cause an upset against the Pumas, England and Japan. You have a feeling, however, that no matter how big a fight the other teams put up, based on history and current form, you'd expect to see England and Argentina qualify. All in all, it's going to be an incredibly exciting pool stage for us all to enjoy, and it's incredibly hard to predict who will come out on top. But going on current world rankings in the groups, with the highest ranked team topping the group and second highest finishing second, the quarterfinals would look like this. The first quarterfinal, which is going to take place in Marseille on October the 14th, would be Australia-Argentina. The second quarterfinal, also on October the 14th but at the Stade de France, would be Ireland versus New Zealand. Quarterfinal 3, the next day in Marseille at the Velodrome, would be England versus Wales.
England and Wales fans are going to love this. We're going to sail down the French Riviera for the England v Japan and Wales v Portugal games, all aboard a luxury floating resort. And the good news is you can come and join us.
I want more details. Firstly, do you drive a boat? Do you ride a boat? What do you do? Do you
skipper the boat?
Who's skipper in the boat? Who's skipper in it?
You're our skips, Jim.
That's what I wanted you to say.
Yep.
So I'm skippering. And where's it going from and to?
It's going from Marseille to Toulon.
Right. We sold the people the dream, Andy Rowe.
Just get on the boat, everyone.
Pod.
Rugby Pod.
And the final quarterfinal will also be on October the 15th at the Stade de France, and that would be an incredible mouth-watering tie between France and South Africa. Let's take a look at these ties and see who could come out on top. Argentina, Australia. Having recently beaten the Wallabies, Cheika's Pumas would be confident of beating his home country once more and leading them to a semi-final. But if we go on historic victories and the rankings, we would have to say for this exercise at least that the Aussies would win. Just. Quarterfinal 2 is a rematch of the 2019 World Cup quarterfinal, when New Zealand destroyed Ireland 46-14. But a lot has changed over the last couple of years, none more so than Ireland's historic series victory against the All Blacks in New Zealand this summer. And also, with Ireland having won 4 of their last 6 matches, you'd have to say they're favourites to qualify through to the semis. Then off to the old rivalry of England versus Wales. It's a very hard one to predict. You'd have to bet the English to progress, just ever so slightly. Finally, quarterfinal 4 would give us the best of the quarterfinals, where the home nation France, currently ranked 2nd in the world, would come up against 3 times winners, South Africa. Having won their last 7 ties against the French, South Africa would be confident in going through. But France are a completely different prospect from where they were in 2018, the last time they played each other. It's so close to call, but I'd have to go with home advantage and say the French go through. We then reach our semi-finals, which would take place on October the 20th at the Stade de France, where Australia would meet Ireland, and the following day at the same venue, France versus England. I could spend all day theorising statistically and historically who has the best chance of making the final, but based on where the countries are currently, you'd have to say that Ireland and France are the 2 best teams, and hence they would probably progress to the final. That wouldn't mean it's the end of the road for the Wallabies or England, as they'd have to play each other the following week, on the 27th of October at the Stade de France for the 3rd place playoff. That means the next day, on the 28th of October at the Stade de France, it would be France versus Ireland for World Cup glory. At World Cups, the teams have played each other on 4 occasions, with the French winning 3 out of those 4 clashes. Historically, the French boast 59 victories to Ireland's 35 in head-to-heads, but it's going to be an incredibly tough match to call if it does in fact lead to being the final. You'd have to say that when it all boils down, home advantage may make the difference, and hence France would win their first World Cup on home soil at the 10th time of asking. But what do you all think is going to happen? Let us know in the comments below.